Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. Again, a question has come in from Facebook from Elspeth Sproats, who asks, we keep hearing about Kelly's great voice. Can we have a rendition now of Caledonia? And Gregor, you're welcome to join in.
No, I'll go out the room for 5 minutes.
I don't feel it's appropriate now. You know, I need my singing partner. I need Ewan as well to be here to back me up.
And you've developed quite a partnership with Ewan. Before we headed off to New Zealand, there was an opportunity to raise some funds for the Christchurch earthquake appeal, and both yourself and Ewan were involved in a bit of singing. Yeah,
it's just something we both enjoy doing. You know, we can both. You know, we're not bad. We can hold a tune, but I don't think we'll be having a singing career anytime soon.
One of the questions which has come in from Gail Anderson is, what team would you like to play in any World Cup? If you could have picked any team across any generation, what team would you like to have played and why?
Played against or played against? Played against. It's a hard one because you want to play against a team that you can win. Obviously, to play against New Zealand of 1995 with Jonah Lomu in his prime would have been great. Some of the great French teams that have pulled off those wins against the All Blacks, to be involved in those games would have been fantastic. But I'll probably go for Portugal. That would be nice to get the win.
Kelly, any big sort of teams out there that you would have thought, either currently or in the past, that would have been great to play against?
That's a very tough question. I'd probably go back to some of the teams back in the 70s, maybe the 74 Lions team. You know, they had this incredible reputation. They went down to South Africa, I think it was, and won that test. So I would have liked to have played against them. Saying that, I think the games were slightly more violent back then, but it could have been good fun.
We've got a question in here from I think it's from Abu Dhabi. It's Susan Snelling asks, "Hi, it's a question for Gregor. Gregor, what are the best and the worst things about being a coach rather than being a player?"
I'll start with the best things first. You get to experience international rugby still, especially being an international coach. So the build up to a game is fantastic. The buzz you feel more because you're seeing the people come into the stadium, the anthems, that feeling of this is it. This is a highlight of any sporting person's career. You're getting to repeat that again. The fact of working with players, and then when you see them display things or improve, do things that you've been working at training, you go, great, you've unlocked something that a player can improve on. Being involved with the rugby squad still, and the crack and the bonding that you get, something that can't be replaced by in other walks of life. And onto the negatives, obviously you don't get to play, and there's some games where you're really pumped up and you want to be out in the field, and you've got to pinch yourself to say, no, you can't do this anymore. I'd have to say Wednesday was one of those nights. There was such a great feeling all day in the warm-up and then before the game that the players were going to do a real good job out there, and I was with them. I was wanting to go out, and I think I could have lasted 5 minutes before getting stretchered off. So those are the days, but I think nothing replaces you being a player, but coaching comes very close.
Some questions that have come in on Twitter relate to pre-match rituals. Are there any pre-match rituals that you had in your career, Gregor, or you, Kelly, that you're involved with, or any notable ones that you've seen in the dressing rooms pre-match?
I'm trying to think. There's some guys like going out second, some guys like going out last. But in terms of me, I don't really have any. The only thing I do is after the warm-up, I'll come in. I'll just sit down in my corner for a minute or so and just have a real think about my role in the game. But no real superstitions as such.
Gregor, yourself?
Later on in my career, I started getting out very early, so going out onto the pitch before everyone else, just to warm up do my own stretches, and like Kelly, that gave me an opportunity to think about what I was going to be doing in the game, and I felt it was better doing that out in the field, excuse me, and just getting used to the wind and the conditions and the feel of the ground, but no, nothing about wearing lucky socks or lucky pants or anything.
One of the questions you spoke about there in terms of the conditions, you checked the conditions pre-match. Jamie Faulkner has sent a question on Facebook asking, what's training been like given some of the weather conditions that we've experienced out here in New Zealand? Kelly, maybe to you first.
Yeah, I'd say it's been very, very mixed. We've had some fantastic sunny days, but then saying that, we trained the Monday after the Romania game, and the weather was absolutely terrible that day. So it's been very mixed. I think now being in Wellington, it's called the Windy City, so I think we'd better get used to catching high balls when it's blowing around a bit.
It's pretty chilly down in Invercargill for time.
It was. We didn't have many sessions in Invercargill. We purposely had a camp in the Gold Coast to get over the jet lag and make sure that we had an area we could train in good weather. I thought we were lucky in Invercargill because the Tuesday, the day before the game, we woke up with snow and sleet and a lot of wind. It was freezing, and then there was an hour and a half window when the weather just dropped. It was fine, and that was the window where we did our team run, the game rehearsal the day before the game, because just after that the heavens opened again. So we got away with that, and I think even though it was heavy rain during the game, the wind died down and it was better conditions than it had been the day before.
So with 2 games under our belt, Romania and Georgia with 2 wins, you must be both pretty pleased about departing Invercargill with 2 wins.
Yeah, I think so. You know, we were happy to get the 9 points from the 2 games. You know, we've played some good stuff. There's a lot of things we can work on, but I think, you know, we played against 2 very, very physical sides. And as I've said, you know, we're happy to have moved up to Wellington with 9 points and be sitting at the top of the group.
Gregor, one of the questions here from Fraser. Fraser asks, what's it like sharing a box during a match with Andy Robinson?
That is going to be the most popular question I get asked now that I'm a coach. What is it like in the box with Andy? It's sometimes interesting. He's very passionate. You've got to have your focus on there. My role in the box is to pass on the messages to our fitness coach, who's warming up the players, making the substitutions. We have 3 people that will be on and off the field. That's the medics and Duncan Hodge, the kicking coach, who goes on with the water and the kicking tee when we've got penalties or conversions. So making sure we get the right messages on at the right time to pass on to the players and the key decision makers. And looking at substitutions as well, and when to make those substitutions. So there's a lot going on. It's a little bit noisier when the players make errors, especially errors that they know are things that they shouldn't have done, and not errors that the opposition have forced. But it's fine. It's in the heat of the battle stuff, and it's something that you relish. So I do enjoy those times.
And Kelly, you've obviously seen the boys in the box, and does that sort of assist in terms of knowing how passionate everyone is in the stadium, not just the guys that are in the box, but also knowing that you've got a great support? Down in Invercargill, we had thousands of Scotland supporters sort of wrap themselves around the stadium.
Yeah, the support, you know, we got was absolutely brilliant. There seemed to be thousands of Scots down there, and saying that, it's always great as well to get messages from home, because we are so far from home. It's great to know that the people back home are as passionate and as excited about the whole tournament as we are.
Barry Black has sent a question on Facebook which says, did you realise that people who don't normally watch rugby are actually watching our games and talking about rugby too? He says, keep up the high standards, boys. The Scottish rugby public are getting right behind you. What does that mean to know that there's so many thousands of people back home tuning into our games, watching them live, I guess, in the middle of the night?
Oh, it's great to know, you know, especially people that don't normally watch the game. It's good that they're obviously getting excited and they want to see Scotland do well, and as a team and as a squad, you know, that is essentially why we're here. You know, we're here to make Scotland proud.
It's very clear, I think, that anyone that interacts with the squad and with the team is that there's a great camaraderie, there's a great teamship. Is that something which has always been there, or that's been developed more recently in the months that you've all been together?
I'd say in general we're a very tight squad, so we've, you know, we always have a good laugh. You know, we train very, very hard and play very hard, but when we get downtime, you know, we enjoy ourselves and enjoy each other's company.
And Gregor, is there a particular member of the squad who's the standout joker? Someone who's the great character in the squad?
There's a few. There's a few that are jokers on purpose, and some that everybody likes to have a good laugh with. The players have been fantastic off the field. It's a long time together, so as coaches we look at the schedule and try and give the players days off and opportunities for them to relax together. And one of those occasions was Thursday night, so we know that's 10 days away from the game, and the boys seem to have a good laugh. A few things going on in the team room, but they all came out of that quite happy. And I don't know if people realise just the amount of work and sacrifices that go in from the players, leaving their families at home. It's not just the time that they've had out here, but for Kelly and other players, so that's basically the beginning of June that they've been involved with their clubs, and then with Scotland that they've not been able to see their families much. And the work that goes in for a lot of players doesn't get rewarded. We've had a few players that haven't played yet for Scotland in the World Cup, so to keep turning up at training, to keep being positive is tough, so you need the support of those around you. That's what we've got in this squad, and I've really seen the team spirit grow over the last 2 years.
Kelly, you're clearly based down in Saracens, and prior to that you were at Glasgow Warriors. Are you managing to keep in touch with the boys over in Saracens, or are you keeping up to speed?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm keeping in touch. Well, first of all, I keep checking out the Saracens website to see what's been going on, see how the games will be going, and I've also been sending a few of the boys texts. And on top of that, I think there's about 7 or 8 of the guys out here, so I'll hopefully at some stage get to see them.
And how are you enjoying your time down in Saracens? It was quite a move, I guess, from Glasgow down there, but you seem to be really thriving it.
Yeah, it was just for me. I'd played 6 pro seasons in Scotland, and I felt that I wanted a challenge. So I went down to Saracens. It's a fantastic club. Just the player management structure is absolutely superb, and to go down there and win the Premiership in my first season, it couldn't really have gone much better. Tremendous
first season, and Gregor, you know all about travelling and playing rugby. You played in South Africa and you played in France. Was that an experience which you'll always remember, that it added some quality to your own career?
Yes, I first went out to Australia when I was a student and played a season out there, and it made me a better player, having to prove myself to different coaches, learning from different coaches, and just playing with a different style of rugby. So from then on, I decided if I can get the opportunity to play at a club somewhere different, then I know it would make me a better player. And Kelly's great evidence of that. He's went to Saracens. We've seen him improve, not just on the field but off the field. He's become a leader. I'm sure that's part of Kelly's natural development, but also the fact he's playing and having to perform at a big club week in, week out.
A question coming here from Matthew Thorburn. Matthew asks, does anyone in the camp miss any Scottish delicacies back home? He's going on to reference Iron Brew.
It's got to be a can of Iron Brew, yeah. It's got, so that's my, certainly, it's quite funny because I now don't live in Scotland. It's amazing how much more Scottish you become when you're not inside the country, and it's something that I have normally got a bottle of Iron Brew in the car, I've got to admit.
Yeah, I know that feeling well. Trying to find a Marks and Spencer's in France that sold Iron Brew, and savouring it even more. But there was a little shop beside our hotel in Invercargill that had, like a lot of the shop fronts out there, had Scottish flags and had Iron Brew and Tunnock's tea cakes. And I remember I was thinking, I'll have to go and get some Iron Brew. And then the day of our game, when we came back after the afternoon, Iron Brew had gone, so obviously all the supporters had bought them all.